She signed yesterday. Today, the papers showed a new fee. Her voice was steady. Why wasn't this here before? The salesman's smile vanished. His reply cracked like glass. You already signed. Shut up and take the car. The words hung heavy, sharper than the ink on the page. A mother with a baby at her feet folder. Clutched against her chest, suddenly treated like she was nothing more than a nuisance. And in the silence that followed, a man stepped inside. No suit, no shine, just a gray jacket, worn sneakers, and a name no one bothered to notice. Jackson Hale. The letters of his legacy still gleamed across the glass. Storefront. But here, inside his own house, no one looked up. No greeting, no respect. He walked past the empty reception, past the scattered sales floor, and into the thick air of a place that once carried his pride. Now it felt hollow, indifferent, and the voice that told her to shut up echoed against walls that should have stood for trust. This was his dealership, his contract, his name, and what he saw in the paper froze him where he stood. Tell me this, if you were her, faced with a fee that appeared overnight. Would you fight back? Or would you stay silent? Comment 1 for silence. 2 for standing your ground. Rachel sat alone in the corner, her folder pressed tight against her chest as if the papers inside were armor. A car seat rested on the floor beside her chair, the baby inside, sleeping soundly under a yellow blanket. Untouched by the weight of the room. The soft rise and fall of the child's breath stood in sharp contrast to the stillness around them. No one came to greet her. No one asked if she needed help. The glass door marked finance deliveries. Stayed shut, its reflection throwing her own tense posture back at her. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was heavy. The kind that seeps into the skin and makes even the strongest second guesses themselves. Her eyes didn't wander. They fixed on the folder, scanning its edges, calculating. Calm on the surface, but beneath she was already measuring every line she had signed, every promise made. She had worked with numbers before. She knew when something didn't add up, and Jackson, watching from the shadows, saw it, too. The patience, the quiet resolve. A woman dismissed as ordinary was about to become the thread that unraveled everything. She was waiting. And the dealership was holding its breath with her. Chad arrived with the kind of polish that glimmered only on the surface. His suit caught the light, his hair sculpted more than cut, and his smile rehearsed until it no longer resembled anything human. He carried a clipboard tucked under his arm, papers clipped neat and firm, as if the weight of bureaucracy could be disguised as professionalism. He stopped in front of Rachel, leaned in just enough to make the air feel crowded, and slid a fresh set of documents across the desk. His voice poured smooth, too smooth, the kind that never leaves room for questions. Just a quick update, nothing big. Standard procedure. The contrast was striking. Rachel in her faded hoodie, clutching a folder that already held the truth, and Chad, with his manufactured confidence, pushing a stack of pages dressed up to look official. One looked like survival, the other like performance. Rachel's fingers tightened around her own folder. She didn't lift her head yet, but the small shift in her grip told everything. She wasn't confused. She wasn't distracted. She was waiting for the first crack in his mask. Jackson saw it, too. The collision was set. One of them wore the shine of control. The other held the weight of principle. Only one would last. Rachel lowered her eyes to the page, her voice calm, but edged with certainty. This fee wasn't here yesterday. The words cut through the air like a line drawn in sand. Chad didn't blink. His grin stayed fixed, his tone wrapped in syrup. Corporate update happens all the time. Just the system catching up. Nothing for You to worry about. He tapped the paper lightly as though the sound itself could lull her into agreement. The script was too smooth, too polished. Every syllable designed to leave no space for resistance. His words pretended to explain, but really they pressed down, aiming to corner her in silence. Rachel's hand hovered over the line, her thumb brushing the margin, feeling the weight of every hidden number. She had worked with numbers before. She could smell when they were bent. The phrase "nothing to worry about" rang like a bell, always the phrase used when there was everything to worry about. Across the room, Jackson felt his jaw tighten. He had written the policies meant to prevent this very trick. And yet here it was, performed smoothly, delivered with a smile, as if deceit were simply part of the service. The manipulation was working on the surface, but beneath Rachel was not folding. She was sharpening. From his place in the shadows, Jackson's eyes traced the printout Chad had slid across the desk. The lines looked official enough to pass a hurried glance, but Jackson didn't need a second look. One phrase stopped him cold. Vin etching. It was impossible. He had killed that charge.